Well, good morning, Clay. Good morning, everybody. Thanks for waking up early and joining us here today. I want to wish everybody a happy Passover, a happy Holy Thursday. It was going to be a happy opening day. I guess we'll have to wait till tomorrow. But a happy Masters and a happy allergy season. So we'll try to get everything done so we can at least get back on our day here. But I want to thank the BBB for inviting me to participate this morning. It's a great opportunity. Not only appreciate my affiliation with BBB as a in full disclosure, I'm a former board member, but it's a great organization. I encourage you all, if you are not an accredited business, talk to Clay, talk to Susan, talk to the team, learn more about it. So it's really a great resource for business owners. As Clay mentioned, so Sparks is a digital marketing company. We are actually 17, this will be our 17th year. We are blessed to still have our first 4 or 5 customers, I think, as well added a few hundred since then. So in that amount of time, it should make me qualified to talk about what we're going to talk about today. But as with anything on the internet, everything changes like on a daily basis. So some of the things that we did last year are different this year. Some of the things we did pre-COVID are different post-COVID. So it's really a fluid and dynamic and fascinating business. And certainly digital marketing is one tool in that will fit in almost any business's toolbox. So hopefully what I'll cover today is an overview. It's not a master class. It's hard to condense, 40 hours worth of content into a 1-hour seminar, but I hope to at least share the fundamentals of digital marketing and how you can use it to be advantage to your business. I'm going to gear this a little bit more towards SMBs today. So our business is B2B, but our clients range anywhere from sole proprietors, maybe $100,000 a year businesses, all the way up to $20 million businesses with hundreds of employees. The principles of what I'm going to share with you today are based on a web-centric digital marketing program, which means that your website is sort of the center of everything and how to use that. That's not always the case to a lot of different businesses. So if you are I know folks that are pet walkers or they provide individual pet care, their world is on social media. Some of these tactics can still be applied if you have a social media centric marketing program. They can also be applied if you have an email centric marketing program. But for the most part, what I'm going to explain today is a way to develop it around a website centric marketing program. So we're going to do questions and answers at the end. But if in the course of one of the slides or what I'm saying, if you need some more information, just raise your hand and we'll be happy to answer your questions. So with that, I'm going to share my screen here. And can everybody see that?
Yep, looks good.
That picture of that guy there. So the first question is, what is digital marketing? So that's a new phrase to a lot of people. So we're all familiar with traditional marketing, print media, broadcast media, even direct mail. Digital has really grown and developed over the last 10 years, particularly since COVID. I know many people's businesses, ours included, were affected when COVID had a shutdown, pretty much of everything for the first 6 months back in 2020. But a lot of companies that were nimble and were able to shift their approach to digital really found great success with it. We have a couple of really tremendous success stories ourselves. But it's when people that couldn't open their brick and mortar stores use their website stores to really keep their business going. We had a national flooring manufacturer who was a client, and their primary business was hospitality. Hospitals, restaurants, casinos, they all got shut down. They shifted and pivoted to a digital marketing program, and that helped them pre-book business for when things would open back up. And when it did open back up, then they had this established book of business as well as the new business that was coming in. So there were a lot of really creative ways, just like restaurants were opening in the streets, takeaway food really became big. So digital marketing kind of worked at about the same time. So what are the digital marketing channels? So digital marketing is using your online channels to grow your product or business. So the main ones are content, your website, social media, email. We'll talk a little bit about search engine optimization and search advertising or pay-per-click ads, but then data and analytics, which in our world is really a lifeblood. They used to say content is king. I would actually say now that data is king, and we're definitely able in digital marketing to collect a lot more data and analytics, which gives it another advantage over traditional marketing. You could put a TV commercial, and I know the Nielsen ratings are out and they have a little better data collection, but it can be difficult to quantify your leads and conversions from that. Same with a billboard that's on 83. You might get 70,000 views in a morning, but how can you quantify what do those views become clients? So, certainly with content, we'll talk about that. Website being the repository of information. Social media is sort of like a billboard. It's more eyes can see it. There are many instances where people will have more visits to their social media account than their website, which is why it's important to use that as a tool to get to the website. Email marketing, it kind of fell out of favor a few years ago. Email is back in a good way and a bad way. You've seen the rise in spam and phishing lately. It's really, everybody's inbox is just overloaded. But the differentiator, again, is the data and the analytics, and we'll talk about that. So this is the kind of vision that wakes me up at night. But this is, if we had to do I'm not sure, what do you call this? It's not a Venn diagram. Clay, you're smarter than me. I forget what this is. A flow chart.
Flow chart, yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So if the website lives at the center of the universe, how can we use all of these other channels to support it? So let's start with what feeds everything, and that is a big bowl of content. So we'll talk about how to create the content and how to utilize it. So the content feeds the website, the content feeds your social media channels, the content feeds your email marketing, and the content can feed and influence your internet advertising. So it's sort of a two-way street between social media and email marketing. And what we like to do is we like to share our primary content on the website and then share it from the website to social media where people can link back to the website. If people are going to view your Facebook page, they're going to see what the activity is that you've posted. But if they go to your website, they're going to see your entire universe. So all of your information's there and all of the data collection is there. Same with email marketing. You can share the website content via your email newsletters, email blasts, and then link it back to the website. So from the website, you're going to be collecting some analytics, and the analytics can give you, among other things, information about audience and behaviors and conversions. You can then use that data to refine your content, refine your message, and then optimize that content back on the website so it improves your search results so people can find you. We'll talk about organic SEO and paid advertising in a little bit. And then from the website, you should have some form of data capture, whether it's a contact form or even a more robust analytics tool. And from there, you can measure your lead generations, how many turn into sales, how many conversions you get. But CRM or a customer resource manager, I think it's customer resource manager. I called it CRM for so much, I forget what the R is. But that is a way that you can build marketing automation. You can send out the automatic emails. We'll talk about that in depth later. But then you can also gather your email lists to grow and continue your email marketing. So that's sort of an 800 mile view of this. So we'll or the evening news. Now with Twitter, you can get news instantaneously. So content and how to present it on your website. We'll talk about this. So first of all, you should present yourself as a thought leader. You are the expert in your business. Your customers turn to you. Your referral sources turn to you for information. I don't know anything about building buildings, but I know about digital. I hope I know a little bit about digital marketing. So we can help contractors to market their services to build buildings. The content can be original, you can write it, or it can be curated. So curated is another term I used to call regurgitated, because that's all it was for a while. People were just sharing posts on social. People were just sharing articles that were out there. And then that became an important tool, because you, as a thought leader, probably have access to resources specific to your business that is the resources that are beneficial and helpful to your clients and your prospective clients. So it's okay to share industry resources and things like that. So frequency and timeliness, you go to somebody's website and their last news post was April of 2017. You kind of wonder what's going on there. You might not want to put the date on your blog posts and your news articles if you're not posting with some frequency. And everybody is different, depends on your industry, your business, but a 1 to 4 time a month is usually a fair enough start to get a decent social media and email marketing plan. If you can get something once a week, that's even better. There are other businesses where there's news and information that changes hourly and it comes out all day. Certainly videos get higher engagement. Pre-TikTok, videos were the #1. YouTube was the #2 search engine. You get more time on site when people watching videos. Now it's a little different because we've got a 30-second attention span. So if you can't say it in 30 seconds, like TikTok presents it in some of these other videos, it gets less engagement. I follow a few industry blogs where it's an interview and people will put a comment in there. I wish I could just read the cliff notes, because people don't have a lot of time to watch all these videos to their full length because there's so many other things to do out there. Certainly enhanced visuals, eye-catching graphics, photography. A call to action is to make sure you're inviting someone to follow up, either request more information, request a quote, contact you for more information. If you're looking for topics, and we'll talk about the sources of it, use the search phrases that people are using for your website. You can find that out in your analytics. Use Google Trends to get topics and ideas. And of course, you want to make sure that it's search optimized. So, and I noticed when I put in there enhanced visuals, you'll see a blank sheet of paper, which I think is, apropos to a not advanced visual. So what type of content? We always recommend branded, industry, and engagement content. So what are they? Branded is specific to your business, specific to your company, your people. People like to see behind the curtain. They like to see the wizard behind the screen. So stories about your employees, about your customers, about causes that you might be active in, your products and services, certainly. The industry info can be curated. That can be information that you share from other resources about maybe not only your industry, but about some of the industries that you serve. And then engagement content, I call it the hashtag stuff. This is where you can share. I mean, we got the Ravens, we got the Orioles, we've got big concerts coming to CFG Arena. We have a vibrant community. This is where you can share things about where you're located, your interests. And these are things that will help you to reach people that might not be interested in you otherwise, but if they see you commenting or sharing information about something that they're interested in, that's a form of engagement. So you can use this content to create what we used to call blogs. Now they're articles, which I think is a lot better. It sounds more professional anyway. You can create videos, the ever popular infographics, which I still love, white papers. One thing about white papers, if you're going to have a white paper on your website, you're going to download something for, make available for download, by all means, capture some sort of data on it. So make them give you an email address. You don't know if it's going to be valid or not, but at least you might have something that you get in exchange for that. So that then can live on your website. Again, you're going to share that via your social, your email, and other, including some of your traditional marketing channels. Another thought starter. This is where Hal comes in. I think it's getting a little scary. It's either going to be an amazing tool or the end of civilization, but artificial intelligence, chat box. If you need to create some ideas, people are using ChatGPT and some of the AI tools that are out there. I know if you're in the financial business, there's a lot of financial blogs that have been using just aggregated content for years. All they're doing is pulling in content from someplace else. So as long as you don't take it at face value, you still have to go through it, validate it, but then customize and personalize that information. And certainly it's the way of the future. Again, it's for us in digital marketing, it can be an incredible tool, but it's just one tool in the toolbox. It's a nightmare for mediocre copywriters, I'm sure. And if you read some of the articles, it's going to be the end of the world, but I'm not going to get into that today. So again, talk about the website. It's the repository of all your information. When somebody comes to your website, they see everything you want to share with them about you, your company, your products, your services, your clients, what you do, how you do it, why you do it. And you can use this to share this content to compel others to act. So a few key elements of the website should be mobile friendly and user friendly. 90%, well, I don't like using statistics. I heard a great statistic that 90% of the time, 70% of the statistics are all lies anyway. So I'm not going to use that. But mobile phones, I mean, people are living on their mobile phone right now. Mobile phone traffic has grown from about 5 years ago of about 5% of website traffic to now, in some cases, between 70 and 90% of website traffic. So you want to make sure that your content is mobile friendly, the fonts are the right size, the images are formatted, and that it's user friendly. It's easy for them to get from one page to another or one section to another. The other piece of this is make sure that it is secure. How many times have you clicked on a link and you get an error message saying that this site is not secure? Go back. Are you going to, is your computer going to blow up, or do you want to proceed? So make sure that you have that HTTPS encryption. It should be relevant, authoritative, and trustworthy content. That's what Google has always stood on in its algorithm. Your web, and we're not going to really get into the Google algorithm today, but your content and website with these three categories will rank and can rank higher in Google. I won't say will, because it also depends on a bunch of other things. We talked about keeping it up to date. If you have a WordPress website, which is a tremendous platform, it's very easy to use for a lot of people, and it's very functional. We do a lot of work with WordPress. We want to make sure that it's kept up to date. The platform is just like software on your computer. It's updated very frequently. You want to make sure that your plugins, the platform, your security tools are updated and search optimized. We'll talk about that. This actually belongs in a different location in the talk, but I put it in here too, so I wouldn't forget about it. We talked about that billboard on 83. How can you better quantify leads that you get from that? Well, if you put your website up there, let's say you put www.guitars.com, and it's on that billboard. If you put up guitars.com/I83, then people going to that link, you can better quantify, hey, they only found that because of the billboard. So that's another way to use targeted URLs that you can use then on your traditional marketing. Of course, inquiry forms, email sign-up forms, and if you have websites, you can integrate your social media feed. That's another really good tool to keep your content updated. If you have a Facebook feed that you post 5 or 10 times a day to, you put that on your website, you're getting that same content to display on your website. So that's an easy way to stay fresh. Social media. Again, some may call it the greatest tool in the world. Some may call it the end of civilization. It is an amazing tool. We have been we actually started social media marketing about 9 years ago, almost 10 years ago now. We were one of the first companies that actively do Facebook advertising back before Facebook even went public and it was down to $18 a share. We do see people spend more time on social media, and you may see this on your website statistics. You can get more views on social than you can on your website. That's why it's an important tool to share that content so that it leads people back to the website. So it's a great low-hanging fruit way to connect. Gina Ramsey from Pink Dog Digital is going to be doing a social media seminar here with the BBB, I believe next Thursday at 8:30. So if you go to the BBB website, you can register for it or get in touch with Susan or Clay for more information. So I'll let her cover the ins and outs of social, but a few things just to keep in mind. It's more conversational. It's not formal. If you post with some frequency and regularity, people know that you're active and alive. But again, share the content that's on your website. Don't copy and paste your articles on there. Put it like a newspaper. I always used to use Business Insider as an example. You have your headline, you have your teaser line, and then a click here to read more. So then that brings people off of social media, away from cat videos, into something more productive, looking at your website and learning more about you. Again, you can mix that branded industry and engagement content. In all of our efforts, we look at targeting, and we'll talk about audience targeting in a little bit, but we want to target our users, our influencers, and our decision makers. So for example, if we are working with a commercial kitchen firm, the users would be the chefs, the dishwashers, the servers, the people that work in the kitchen. The influencers might be a restaurant manager that sees the condition of the equipment and needs updating. It could be the restaurant patrons. It could be the spouses or partners of the employees. And then the decision makers are the owners, senior management. And so you can reach them through different channels. Decision makers might be on LinkedIn more. Users and influencers could be on Facebook and Instagram and Pinterest, TikTok. I'm not going to get too much into TikTok because who knows if it's going to be around. It'll be around at some point, but who knows what's going on with it. And again, use analytic tools to integrate with your social. So use pixels. UTM tracking. If you've ever clicked on a link or hovered over a link, and then you see a question mark after the closing /.com question mark, and then there's a bunch of codes. So that's a UTM or a tracking code. And so that enables the content source to determine where that came from, what link they clicked, and collect data about that. So if you post something on social, and if you post on, let's say today's April the 6th. So if you post a blog article, and it doesn't affect the link on your website, but if you post, let's say you post an article from your website on social, at the end of that closing slash, you put a question mark, and then there's a code that you can put in there. It usually starts with SRC and the equal sign, and you can put anything on there. You can just put, Facebook April 6th. And that way, when you look at your data analytics, your Google Analytics or your Bing Analytics, you'll see that you got traffic to that page from that link. So that's a way to track traffic that comes from external sources, just like the way we said to use on that billboard in 83. So you can always Google UTM tracking to learn more about it. But that's an incredibly helpful tool. And then, of course, using paid advertising post promotions. You're going to want to build your audience. If you don't have 500 or 1,000 people, you can do Facebook advertising to grow that audience and grow your followers. And then you can use promoted posts to reach your audience as well as friends of their audience. When we started, if I wanted to reach the 10 fathers of football players at City College, that went to City College, that shopped at Wegmans, that listened to True Fighters, I could do that on Facebook. That's how detailed the data was that Facebook was able to promote. Because we tell Facebook, we tell these social channels everything about our lives. So they got in a little bit of trouble for that, as you had seen. So now targeting is much more broad. It's much more general. We can't be that specific. But paid advertising and post promotions are just a great way to grow your followers as well as share your content. Take a deep breath here. Let me get a sip. Anybody have any questions so far? Raise your hand or. I haven't lost anybody yet, have I, Clay?
No.
Have I jumped off a bridge yet?
Not quite.
All right, good.
The questions that roll in sometimes can take a little time to type out. So if anybody has questions, this is your time. I did get one about the recording, and yes, there will be a recording emailed following this presentation. Any other questions though? Nothing yet. So if something rolls in while you're talking now, I'll raise my hand.
So we'll talk about email. So people always ask, well, how often should I send emails? When should I send emails? I always say, send when there's something to say. If you are in a rut where you send out a predictable email that's regurgitated content just for the sake of sending out an email, look at your click rate, look at your tracking numbers, see how it's being viewed and utilized. If you send when it's something to say, people will know that there's something important in there, or hopefully they will know that there's something more important in there. Again, just like we talked about in social, kind of use that newspaper teaser, the headline, subheader, and then a little teaser line, and then a link to the content where it lives on your website. Most email platforms, and we're a Constant Contact partner, but we've worked with MailChimp, we've worked with a lot of other CRMs. Most of them have built-in click tracking and open tracking, and they also allow you to use some link tracking, some UTMs. So take advantage of that, because that will inform you as to what's being effective. If you use a CRM, for example, and you've got 3 different topics on your email list, and you can even do this in Constant Contact and MailChimp. If somebody clicks on a link about blue guitars, then they can be segmented. So they have an interest in blue guitars. So then you can tailor additional content to them because they have an interest in blue guitars. Same with red guitars or invisible guitars, whatever you want to put in there. But segmenting is a good, important way to really refine and deliver targeted content to people that are interested in those areas. Again, call to action. Click here to learn more, free quote, request a white paper. Mobile friendly. A lot of times people don't look at the formatting. So when you do a test of your email blast, send it to yourself, look at it on your computer and look at it on your phone. Make sure the text is not going off the side of the edge. Make sure the padding and the margins are set so that your images aren't going off the side of the phone. So it's very important. The other piece of this is opt-in permissions. There are a lot of resources out there that sell email lists, and they sell company data. They're valid, they're legit, it's fine. The only problem is most email managers do not allow bought email lists, and you can get in trouble for using them. So why do they know? It's simple. If they're selling a list to you, they're selling it to others, and they'll see certain email addresses that are always going to trigger, hey, these 3 emails are in this blast, they're probably a list. And you can get banned. You can go to the penalty box for using bought lists. It's not worth it Please try to build your own list, organic lists. If you have a list, let's say from a trade show, that's a permission-based list, that should be okay, but check with your email manager company just to make sure. So we'll talk a little bit about SEO. I won't get into it too deeply because I'll be a little self-promoting here. I'm going to do a separate seminar on search engine optimization right here, same bat time, same bat channel in 2 weeks. So April the 20th, is that correct, Clay? I think it is.
Yep.
So April 20th at 8:30. If you'd like to learn more about search engine optimization, we'll get under the hood a little bit more about that. But I just want to give you just a little bit of an overview as it relates to a digital marketing plan. So what is search engine optimization? That is optimizing your website and your content so that Google can find you and your pages and content can rank higher in results. If you are a, let's say, if you are selling blue guitars in a world where, you know, Gibson guitars is the 800-pound gorilla, let's be frank, you're probably not going to rank higher than Gibson guitars. You're not going to rank higher than large established websites if you're just starting out. But over time, what search engine algorithms do is they tailor results based on a number of factors. The way you search on your computer, they store your search history unless you clear your cache and clear your history every day, which I recommend, but also geolocation. So they can target ads that are more, target search results that are more relevant to where you are. So if you were to look for guitars, you might see a listing for different stores, as well as the products on there that are close to you. So you can rank higher, even though the competitors out there can be bigger and better. So better SEO, better results. There are a lot of mechanical things or technical things. We talk about meta tags. So if you, for example, if you were to hover over a picture, a little text box should show up with a written description of what that picture is in case the image doesn't show. You know, robots, there's a robots text file that tells the search engines what to look at and what not to look at. There's something called schema, and that is your structured data. So that tells people who you are, where you are, what your industry is, without really looking at a lot of the deeper content on your website. It's also important for social media. And then making sure that the site performs, making sure that it loads quickly. If your site does not load quickly, you can get penalized. If your schema is not there, you can get penalized. If you don't have all of these things in place, you may not rank higher in Google. So, you know, the other piece of that is you can use some of the data and analytics that you get to do keyword research and competitive research. So if you want to know what your site looks like on Google, and I will put this in the chat, if you go to your Google search bar and type in site dot, I'll be agnostic here. You type in the Google search bar, just type in site www.yoururl, whatever you want it to be. It will deliver to you all of the pages that have been indexed by the search engine. So if they are there, that means anybody can see them. So make sure that those pages, a lot of people, sometimes if they're creating news articles, they'll create a draft and maybe that draft gets published or they change it or they'll change the name to it. And you might have news articles -1, -2, -3, -4. If you are, a lot of folks that DIY a website may not change the template files that are in there. So some of the dummy placeholder files are in there. So you want to make sure that you see what the website is what the search engines are showing from your website. And Bianca, great question. What is schema? So schema is a piece of SEO. It's a piece of the tool. It's a tool in the box that identifies your company name, your location, your industry, what the content is about, if it's an article, if it's an event, if it's a, there are a whole slew of different things. But then that's built into the header of your website so that when you share something on Facebook or you share it on other channels, they can read that schema and get more identifiable information about your website and your company. So great question. And again, come back on April 20th and we'll get into schema a little bit more. The other thing is citations. So citations are also called directory lists. So if your business, back in the day, Facebook would give you a Facebook page, whether you asked for it or not. Yellow Pages, yp.com, they will put, they'll display your listing, whether you're in there or not. So you want to make sure that your directory listings are consistent and correct. So if you've moved several times over the last couple of years and you Google your business name, you might show up with different addresses in different directories. So you want to make sure that your directory listings are correct. And there are tools that you can subscribe to where you can get a list of all the directories and you can monitor. And again, we'll talk about that a little bit more in the SEO seminar. Backlinks are when other websites link to you. So that's why directory listings can be important too, because if you've got BBB of Greater Maryland linking to your website, if you've got Yelp, yp.com, all these other directory listings, that adds SEO juice to your website. That means other websites have found your content to be authoritative, trustworthy, and relevant. So that helps build your SEO score. And don't forget your Google business page or your Bing business page. That is important because a lot of people, when they search, that's what's going to come up first, and they may use that for your key information. You always want to have a site map that you can submit to the search engines, and it tells them what to look for. It just makes their job a little bit easier, and it can speed up the process of getting your content indexed. They crawl the website from time to time, but it's always good to manually make sure that your site map, which is essentially the table of contents of all the stuff on your website, are being submitted to the search engines. With organic SEO, love takes time. It's not set and forget. So organic SEO can take 30, 60, 90 days. It depends on your competition. It depends on, hundreds of different factors. And it's not something you can do once because your competitions change, searches change, people change. The way people are searching changes, the technology changes. So a good SEO program is something that's usually measured and monitored and refined, a few times a year to make sure that all the results are still what they're doing. So here's a quick question that came in. How can someone use a backlink if they aren't connected? So there are companies that provide backlinks, as you say. A lot of them are based in countries that aren't anywhere near us. The best thing to do is just ask. If there is let's say you follow a blogger or you follow someone, ask them to put a link to your website. Sometimes if you post a comment or you post an article on another website and put your link in there, that will get followed by search engines. Another way to do it is to share on other websites like some of the news sites that are out there, the Baltimore Business Journal, some of these other ones where you're allowed to have your URL, your website in there if it refers to your company or you're linking back. So if you can ask. I'm reluctant to go to link farms because we've seen instances where they're just not what they say they are. So, but that's another good question.
We got one more mobile vendor. Can they use a Google My Business profile or Yelp?
Yes, absolutely. So that is what we talked about, your Google business profile. A lot of times people will see that. So if you don't have a website or you don't have a robust website, make sure those profiles are up to date, accurate, and complete. So good question. So what does the search engine and how does the search engine view your website? So on the left is our homepage. This is what it looks like. On the right is what a crawler sees. So it's how you format your headers. So essentially, the larger the text that you see, the better it's going to get indexed. I know it sounds crazy, but it's just like the old headlines. The big headlines get attention. And we'll talk about this more on the SEO side, but the main headers are H1, which is the most important. You get one of those per page. H2, which is, again, that's a good place to either list your company name or your services. You can have two, usually it's good practice to have two or so H2 tags. And then the headers H3, 4, 5, and 6, they can be the other content. So they can be, paragraph, article, categories, be things like that. So that's kind of a better view of what the search engines will actually see when they crawl your site. Search advertising is really a separate piece, but I'm going to throw it into SEO today just so we can get out of here on time. So SEO takes time. So like I said, organic SEO, 30, 60, 90, sometimes longer, and you may not compete with the big dogs. Search ads are a great alternative to it. Higher cost, faster search placement. So you can buy those keywords so that when someone types in blue guitars, your ad can appear higher in search. If you look over in the example, it's a little tough to see, but you'll see sponsored over here. So these are some of the sponsored ads. There are the sponsored items over here on the right. And then, as you move down, you get to the organic results. So search ads are the other piece of this is you're finding people when they're searching for you. If they're searching for blue guitars, they're looking for them for a reason. So that's the best time in the sales cycle. We talked about searches, or keyword ads, video ads, display ads, where you can place on other websites. So you can get the ads to show up on, and I'm not sure if they're still doing it, but like WBAL, news sites, all types of different ones. And then remarketing. Remarketing is remarkable, and that's really what helped Amazon and some of these other major retailers grow. Have you ever watched Yellowstone? I'll use that as an example. Pick a show, and then afterwards say, hey, you know what? I really like a pair of cowboy boots. So I search for cowboy boots. Well, then all of a sudden, every website I go to has an ad for cowboy boots. That is remarketing. So that is where they put a cookie on your computer, and so that when other websites sell Google ads, Bing ads, whoever the platform is, if you're searching for something in there, they can deliver those targeted ads to you. So that's the annoying fact of remarketing ads, and it's really a remarkable tool. I mentioned earlier, YouTube is the second largest search engine. You can do pre-roll ads, you can do post-roll ads, you can do sponsored text ads. If you're going to do a pre-roll ad, again, 5 to 10 second quick pre-roll ad, so that if somebody's searching for how to build a guitar, you can build a little 5 or 10 second pre-roll ad on selling blue paint for guitars, so that it feeds into it. The other thing search ads do is it allows you to set a budget. So it's not like you're paying and not knowing that the ad is going to be seen or viewed or displayed. When these ads are displayed, they're delivered to people that are searching for this content or have an interest or an audience to that. So, you can set your budget. If you want to set a max, we have clients that spend, usually about $1,000 a month to spending $10,000 a month and more on ads, but it's a good way to control your costs on it as well. And there are some overages, usually, 10% or so. I also suggest that when you put the ads out, if you do, have content specific landing pages. So don't, if you're selling specific to blue guitars, don't have it go to your main site where blue guitars might be a tiny piece of it. Have it go to a dedicated page that explains what your products are, has a call to action, has a contact form. You can have your mobile phone number or have your phone number so that somebody can click on it if they're on a mobile phone. So that landing page, and again, you'll be able to better track traffic and analytics to it. And it, advertising also allows you to target by location You can target some demographics, some audience, and some behavior options. So Joelle asked a question about header formatting for her app. They have a troubleshooting page. Should they split it up into a single tab of contents and break out into separates? So again, this is an excellent question, and a workaround for that might be to use what's called an anchor text. So it's a hyperlink that you can put in that goes to a specific piece in that page. So I don't get too far into the weeds. If you just Google using anchor text on long pages, it'll give you a tip on that, and that's probably the best way to do it. So then your headers are in there. And if the troubleshooting page is a major part of your website, then you might want to think about breaking those separate pages out separately so that that content on the individual ones can be optimized. But if it's just a piece of an overall thing, it's probably more important to focus on products or services or other things, but then make sure that the troubleshooting page does get indexed. So we'll talk about analytics here again. A lot of people say content is king. Certainly I think data is king anymore, as we've all seen. So pardon me for reviewing my notes here, but it's a way to keep me on time and on track. So there are several free tools. Everybody should have a Google Analytics account, a Bing Analytics account. They also have Google Search Consoles and Bing Search Consoles. They're two different platforms. So the analytics will tell you time on site, acquisition, referrals, how many links a person clicked through. You can track your conversions, how many filled out a contact form, how many requested information. And it's a great picture. You can get an automated report. You can send it daily, weekly, monthly, hourly, depending on how your website is used. But those are key factors. Something important about Google is they are changing their method for collecting. So their regular analytics tool was just a little code that you would put on your website. They're now switching to what's called GA4. It's a whole different measurement system. So if you've got an old traditional Google Analytics account, log into it. You can log into it probably using your Gmail address and make sure that you convert that to a GA4 account. Effective in, I believe it's July 1st or June or July, all of these things are going to be shifted over to GA4. So that's something to keep in mind, or let your developer know or your marketing team know. So search consoles are a little bit different. They track more data on the technical side. So they will tell you what pages have been indexed. They will also be able to tell you if you have broken links on your site. If you ever see that 404 page or a 503 page or 500 page. So those are bad. We want to make sure we get rid of those broken links. You can always put redirects in there, or using search consoles, you can also request that Google remove certain pages from your website. It's not the best way to do it. Don't guarantee that they do it, but it's something that you can do. And it also gives you a little bit more usability. So one of the pieces I like to look at in Search Console is you can tell how many clicks your website links got, but then you can tell how many searches there were. So if the most important thing of your business is blue guitars, and you look at Search Console and there were 10,000 searches and you got clicked on 3 times, you need SEO. You need to improve that. On the other hand, if there's 1,000 searches and you're getting, let's say, a 5 to or maybe even a 3 to 8 to 10% click rate, then you're doing better. But that's a good way to tell what people are searching for and where your website is performing on it. It's also an analytic tool as well as a marketing automation tool, are CRMs. And so what's really unique about them is it allows you to multi-channel tracking. So for example, you might, what are CRMs? Salesforce, HubSpot, SharpSpring, there's a number of other ones. but it will allow you to use, if you have a VoIP system, for example, VoIP phone system, you can actually track your incoming phone calls to people that are in that system. So you can upload your database, phone numbers, their email address. You can use it for your email blasts, but then you can use links in there that will track incoming calls. It can track visits to social. It can track visits to the website, how many pages they viewed, and also, what interactions they had with the site, as well as giving you and your team ways to monitor and follow up on marketing calls, sales tools. There are a lot of different things. I encourage you to learn more about a CRM, whether I think HubSpot, they used to have even a free version, which is a basic version that you can test, but the paid versions are obviously a lot better. SEO monitoring and directory list or citation monitoring. We talked about that a little bit earlier. SEO monitoring is a little bit different, but it will give you a little better nuts and bolts overview of where your website ranks to your keywords. Directory list monitoring is another one to make sure that your citations are correct in Yelp and in YP and BBB and all these other places. So some of these are free, some of these are very expensive, but I'm sure that there's something out there that will fit, pretty much anyone's budget. How are we doing time-wise here, Clay? Am I coming up to a hard stop or?
I don't have a hard stop. We can go a little bit long if you're okay with it. 9:30 is what we're scheduled for. If people want to stay late, then we'll be on. We can also provide the recording to those who have to hop off early.
So if you do have to leave, I certainly understand. You're probably better things to listen to than me blabber. If you want to stay, I want to just give a really quick overview on digital marketing strategies, which is a little bit different than just the tools that we talked about. But if you registered and your contact information is there, you'll get an email with my contact information. Feel free to reach out and let me know if there's any way we can help you. So strategies are how you put all these other tools into action. So one of my favorite lines is success lies at the intersection of preparation and opportunity. You can also say it, luck lies at the intersection of preparation and opportunity. But these strategies are different than what people would do in a traditional marketing strategy, mainly because you can be more targeted in your efforts. The analytics allow you to be more, to get greater measurement of your KPIs and tracking conversions. And it's also much more effective. So how to set up a digital marketing strategy. And again, this could be a whole other seminar. So I'll just cover the couple real high-end things. First is you want to set your goals. What do you want? What's your intent? Do you want to just increase awareness of your brand? Do you want people to connect with you? Do you want to get website traffic? Do you want to get people to fill out forms? Obviously, sales. I mean, we're all in business here. So, and these goals can all be incorporated at the same time into different elements of your digital marketing strategy. For example, you might want to use Facebook for engagement and brand awareness and traffic. You might want to use LinkedIn email lists or email newsletters for inquiries and conversions and sales. So you can use these things across different channels. But first of all, identify your goals. Secondly, identify who you're targeting. That's one of the most important pieces. If you, like I said, we look at the users, the influencers, and the decision makers. So look at your customers. If you're dealing with, let's say you're dealing, if you're a building general contractor and you're dealing with the building engineer, that's great. That's who you deal with on a daily basis. But is he the guy that's going to hire you? Or is it an architect? Is it another third-party referral? So look at who your ideal customers are and how they feed business to you. I think it was Willie Keeler, the baseball player, that said, hit them where they ain't. Well, with targeting, you want to hit them where they are. So again, what channel are they using? Some people are still using email primarily. Again, if it's Facebook, if it's Instagram, figure out what channel gets the most results for you and sales and inquiries and conversions, excuse me. use your ad performance and your data to figure that out, where that is. And again, use that CRM to capture that information, and then you can set up marketing automation going forward. The content should be tailored to that audience. Again, using different channels that can have different conversational styles. Make sure you're using the style that is appropriate for the recipient and for the channel. Again, the 3 laws of Google: authoritative, trustworthy, and relevant. Make sure your imagery is good. There's a call to action, and be appropriate for the individual channels. For those of you of a certain vintage like me, when Gilligan's Island first came out, I felt always so bad for the professor and Marianne, because the song used to end and the rest. They were never itemized. They were never, promoted. So as they, the series got on, well, I'm diverting. Anyway, here's the rest. SEO has got to be a piece of your digital marketing strategy, and analytics. And again, if you're not a BBB accredited business, talk to Clay, talk to Susan, learn more about it, and all the great resources that BBB has. So with that, I thank you for your time this morning. I'll be happy to answer any questions. My contact information is there, and we'll open it back up. Clay, if you want to take it from here.